Welcome back to Tides of the Heart, the space where we explore the many ways love shapes us, stays with us, and changes us. It's been a while since I've sat down behind this mic. Stepping away gave me the clarity to realize that this podcast is something I want to take time for in this season of my life. Not just because I love sharing the stories, but because hearing how people love reminds me that love is still alive, still real, and still worth believing in. As I was easing back into creating again, I came across Megan's story on TikTok, a story about her boyfriend Zach and a love cut short far too soon. Her story stopped me in my tracks. It was tender and honest and deeply rooted in her faith. The kind of faith that sees meaning of the moment we're given and believes that there are no coincidences in the people we meet or the love we experience. Today's story is about a love that still lives on, even after loss, and what it teaches us about appreciating what we have while we have it. Today isn't just about love stories, it's about what it means to really be in one while you're living in it. So many of us spend our lives focused on what could change instead of what's in front of us. When Megan and I talked on the phone before this episode, we ended up chatting nonstop, the kind of conversation that just flows and it could have gone on for days. I got off the call thinking this is exactly why I wanted to bring the podcast back. Hearing her speak reminded me that love isn't just found in the joyful chapters, it's found in the grief, the resilience, the memories we hold on to, and ways we keep going even when life breaks our hearts. So, as Tides of the Heart returns, we're shifting just a bit. We'll still talk about love, but through the lens of the people who've lived it in all its forms. Love found, love lost, love that's changed them, and love that still echoes long after somebody is gone. Today, Megan is sharing the story of her and Zach, their life together, the accident that took him far too soon, and the love she still carries with her. It's a story about presence and gratitude, faith, and the belief that just everything in our life happens for a reason and for a purpose. I'm so honored to share this conversation with you. Megan, I'm so grateful you're here. When we talked on the phone before this, I felt like it was one of the conversations that we just vibed immediately. And it felt like one of the moments that reminded me there really are no coincidences. So I'm so honored to sit with you today and share your and Zach's story. So let's begin with your story and how your and Zach's paths crossed.
So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Zach and I both were starting a new chapter in life, and we had both found each other on Hinge. We had both just moved to Jacksonville, or he had moved to Jacksonville. I had moved to Palm Coast, Florida, and we met each other on Hinge. And a week within being in a new city, we both had met, and we just in that moment fell in love. And I remember taking a TikTok or not a TikTok. No, it was a TikTok, maybe Snapchat, some sort of social media post. And I was just raving about the man that I fell in love with. And I was like, I know he's the one. And I had a little bit to drink, but I was just so sappy and just saying that I found the perfect man. And I was so excited.
Oh my gosh. He was in the Navy the whole time. You knew him, right?
Yes, he was stationed in Corpus Christi before moving here, and then he moved to Jacksonville and got stationed at NAS Jax.
So, did you ever have to do any distance with him while he was in the Navy?
No, luckily. The only distance we had was when he had long hours or long flights, but nothing ever over a couple of days.
Amazing. So tell me about him and what immediately attracted you to him.
Zach was complete opposite of me, which I think opposites attract so much. I am very loud and outspoken, and he is very calm, cool, and collected. And that was something I immediately was just like, okay, we balance each other out. This is really great. And hearing him talk about his family, hearing him talk about his faith, just suckered me in. I just knew that he had similar values to what I had, and we just hit it off. He grew up in a military family, so he was always moving around. So when I asked him, that was one of my first questions. I said, where are you from? And he said, kind of all over. And then he just started telling me where his family was, and his family had just moved to Illinois. And we were just talking about how that was like something he was excited to go do, was visit his family for a friend's wedding. So he was going to see his family. He hadn't seen them in a while. And that was our first time apart, now that I'm thinking about it. We were apart for like a week because he went away and he went to a wedding and he went to see his family and then he came back. But he was very family oriented. He spoke so highly of his siblings, his dad. His mom passed away when he was little, but he spoke about her as if she was still here. And it was just the sweetest. He only knew her for a little while, but I just am assuming all of the stories that his dad told him, he just knew his mom, and it was just so sweet. I am very outdoorsy, but that was something that we always did together, was go for hikes, go to the springs. Anything outdoors we were down for. And we went backpacking through the Smoky Mountains. That was our last trip together. But I don't know if you've ever heard of geocaching, but geocaching.
Yes, nobody I know knows about it, and I saw one of your TikToks, and like I used to think it was the worst thing ever. First off, that's how I respond when people are like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Really nowhere," and they kind of look at me like, "What do you mean?" But we moved around every 2 years, so I'm like, I'm literally from everywhere. But since we moved around all the time, we would always do geocaching everywhere we went. And like me and my sister were always like, they're dragging us through another hike. Here we go. Like we thought it was torture. But when I saw your video, I was like, I have to bring geocaching up because I feel like it's so niche.
Yes, it's like a little, I call it a treasure hunt in the woods. You just follow the coordinates and go on a treasure hunt in the woods. And he never had heard of it, never knew a thing about it. And I was like, how didn't you know about this? Because I grew up in upstate New York in the sticks, and I was always like hiking, camping, fishing. My dad always had us on a geocache, and he kind of described life the same way, just always being outdoors with his dad. So, and he was a Eagle Scout or a Boy Scout and then an Eagle Scout. So I was like, how did you not know about this? But anyways, I took him for his first geocache, and he found his first geocache, and he thought it was very cheesy. But I was so proud of him. And that's like one of my favorite videos because I just hear him giggling like it's a live photo, and you just hear him giggling in it. And it's just the cutest video.
That's so amazing with technology, like you think you're taking a photo, but really it's like you get the emotions behind it. That's so sweet.
Yes, and that's one thing he truly did not like, was me taking photos and videos, but I always would say to him, one of us could die tomorrow and this will be all that we have. And that is one thing I'd always say, I promise I'm not posting this anywhere. I just want the memory of it. But I'm so glad that I have hundreds of photos and hundreds of videos, just because that's all I have now. And that's what, like, I just sent his dad a video the other day. I think I sent you the same video. We were stuck in the pouring rain. And his dad was like, it was so nice to hear his voice. I have not heard that in almost 4 years. And I was just like, so glad that I could just bring a little piece that he's never seen or never heard before, and just, bring back a piece of Zach.
I remember you saying that when we were talking on the phone, that your last trip together, that you just like couldn't stop taking pictures. And now you know why.
Right. I mean, I just had gotten into TikTok at that time too. It was very like new. So I was filming little silly trends and using little voices and whatever. And some of those videos are my favorite memories that I have. I was so glad that camping in the middle of the evening, I was making him guess a body part I was thinking of or like something, and I would just record it. And it was just the silliest moments that I just hang on to.
Now you have to go back to.
Right.
So what was a normal day like with him?
He would wake up every morning very early and he would eat the same breakfast. He would crack his eggs and throw out the yolk and only eat the egg white. And he would have 6 eggs, and then he would have 2 sausage links, and then either a half a bagel or a piece of toast. That was every single day, like clockwork. Whenever he woke up, he would start his day with that. And he would sit at the table and he would read his Bible. He would do like his little either studying or little tasks for work that he had. And then he would, depending on when he had to be at work, the Navy is kind of just like you show up tomorrow at 6 or you show up tomorrow AM or PM kind of thing, like just it's thrown at you the day before. So depending on what he had to do, he would either go to the gym before work or after work. And then he would have the same snack after the gym, which was always, or maybe it was before the gym, I don't know, but it was the gym snack and it was cottage cheese. And then he would have like apples or just something sugary a little bit. After the gym or after work, he would study and probably take a shower before bed and then go to bed. But he would always say his prayers before every meal and before going to bed after waking up.
Very military of him. Like it probably comes like coming from a military family. And he was what kind of pilot in the Navy again?
He was a P-8 pilot, so essentially like the planes we travel on to go on trips places, not the same exact plane, but similar, that type of size.
Have you ever been around military besides Zach?
No, never before. And for the longest time, I kept calling him a Marine, and he would always it. But that's like a funny little memory because I was just not used to the military life, and I couldn't decipher one between the other for a while. But no, military first experiences with him, and now I am a true Navy lover.
That's so funny. Military is such a different world in any aspect of it that it's hard. Just talked about like how I was growing up. It's hard to tell somebody if they're not in that same boat of like how I was raised because it's such a different world. And that's just me as a kid, not dating somebody or married to somebody in the military.
Right. And I grew up by the Army College, West Point, and I went to quite a few Army games, and I was always go Army, beat Navy. And then as soon as I met Zach, I switched it. And even being from that area, I still am just like, go Navy.
That's so funny. That's amazing.
Yes.
What is something that you two would talk about when it was just you two?
Oh my goodness. Zach was a planner, and I was very, or I am to this day, very anal and OCD about certain things. So I would always need to know, like, what was the next step? Like, what were we going to be doing? I needed to be one step ahead of the game. So I would always need to know, like, what the plans were for the weekend. And we would always have a plan for the weekend because he was a planner and he would want to do 10 different things that weekend. So we would talk about planning like hikes or this or anything. And then whenever we had things planned, he would write it all out and then he would send me his little thing. But anytime we had time together, it was just always like we would be planning the next fun thing that we were going to be doing. We would talk a lot about he was very big into religion. I was not as big into religion when I first had met him because I was a cradle Catholic. That's just like growing up, born into the Catholic family and just surrounded by that your whole life. So once I branched out on my own, I kind of fell out of the faith. And then when I met him, I could just tell he was so surrounded by his faith and so into his faith. And that was something that I really wanted to, I could just tell he loved everything about it. And I was just like, I want to feel that way. I want to be as happy as you are with that spiritual, like, I don't know. I saw the connection that he had. So we definitely would like talk about what we would be reading at church or what we read the last week at church or anything like that. He was big into watching The Chosen. I don't know if you have heard of The Chosen.
I I think I've heard of it. It's religious, right?
Yes, yes. And he would tell me all about The Chosen. He would watch specific shows over and over again because he just loved them so much. And The Chosen was one of those things that he would just like, he would watch an episode and then he'd watch that same episode again because he wanted to learn more from it and like loved it. And it was just the sweetest.
So intentional, like with anything he did.
It was crazy. I have a few of his little notebooks and some of them are just like either from working out, like his little documenting every single day of workouts or documenting his groceries, his gas. I have notebooks of him documenting his gas. Like everything that he did had a purpose. And it was just, that's one of my favorite things that I have is I just have all of his little handwriting pieces because he just documented everything and was so disciplined and intentional. I love that.
And that's so precious because, he didn't do all of those knowing that like that's something that you would cherish one day.
Right.
It's just something he did on his day to day, and now it's such a prized possession, really.
Right.
That's so sweet. And
Yeah.
that's, I feel like that really gets down to like, what is life about? Like it's not about things. It's not about what you can buy. It's not about what you drive or your house, whatever. It's a literally notebooks that he wrote his gas, his groceries, his workouts in that you look back on every day.
Truly. And he was not materialistic at all. His dad is kind of, I'm assuming this is where he gets it from, but his dad is the same way. When Zachary passed, he just said, like, his t-shirts are his t-shirts, but his soul is around me all the time. I don't need his t-shirt to know that he's here, kind of thing. And that is something that I was just like, wow, Zach is the same way.
When you think about your and Zach's relationship, what is one thing that comes to mind? Or the most prominent things that come to mind?
When I think about our relationship, I think about just all of the things. Like anytime I'm doing something, I always am thinking about him and I'm just like, Zach would enjoy this. Or just, I don't even think it would be one specific thing. Just, I think about what he like misses out on. And I just wish that he was here to enjoy it because I know that he would enjoy so many things. And I feel like when I'm doing something with like my family or my boyfriend or like my best friends or like he's not here, I'm like, oh, Zach and I have done this and he would love this. Or like not comparing to the past, but I'm always just wishing that he was a part of the future, a part of the
Mhm.
present, I guess.
Like he's truly just, he lives on through you every day. And I know I see like your TikToks of like everything you do is for him. And I truly believe that that's um, the way you can get through every single day. Like we've talked about, I've never experienced anything like you have, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I mean, I'm sure there's days you can't pick yourself up.
It's truly like I would not be as strong as I am if it wasn't for him in my brain every day just telling me like pick yourself up, you can do it, like you got to do it because it's not your time to come home yet.
Of course, he knows everything that you go through. And every single day that you wake up and you decide to do life or even put a smile on your face, I'm sure he's just cheering anytime that you wake up because it just sounds like you guys just had such a good relationship and that he's with you every day. But God doesn't make any mistakes. And
For,
it's so unfortunate, but you are who you are because of that. And you're so strong. And I'm not saying you wanted to become this strong, but you are.
right. And I, honest to God, like Zach's dad, myself, Zach's family, we all believe that God had a plan. We know that God had a plan, and we know that the plan was that Zach had to go home on January 1st, and we all have to be okay with that. And I just truly believe that he was too perfect for this earth because he was such a pure human. Just one of the best people. Did not curse, never raised his voice, never got upset. I've never seen Zach Kennedy upset. And like that blows my mind that I mean, just never, not once did I see him without a smile on his face. And that just goes to show how great and how positive and wonderful and just a ray of sunshine he was.
Such a good soul to be around.
Yeah.
I could only imagine if we knew the future. Because sometimes you go through something and you're like, why? But why? Like, I want to know the exact reasons for this. But it's such a blessing to be guarded from that because 5 years ago, if I looked at where I'm at now, I I have a great day every day. I really, really do. But I would have never thought I'd be equipped to handle what I do 5 years ago.
Right.
And it's such a blessing to not know what's next. So unfortunately, if you don't know what tomorrow holds, but you have today.
Right. Right. And that's honestly, after all of this has happened, I live in the moment more now than I ever have in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't take a single thing for granted. And I'm just so grateful for any laugh that I can share with my friends or just any positive moment or negative moment. I mean, every moment is a learning experience or an experience to take from. So
I think life is just so purposeful. That's why I wanted to start the podcast. It's like you don't know if this could help one person truly find their love story or realize what they're in is not healthy and it's not what God has intended them to be in, that they're capable of so much more love. And I know that's something we talked about, is that it's difficult when you've experienced true love because then you compare. Compare sounds negative, but I don't mean it negatively. But you really compare any love brought into your life. Is this even a fraction of what I know I can experience? Okay, so what happened? What was the accident? How did it unfold?
Zach and I, we had gone on a trip in December. We were backpacking through the Smoky Mountains. And then after we backpacked through the Smokies, we went and spent time with his family for the holidays. That was my first time meeting his family. We had like a week there. But I was supposed to fly out and we ended up driving home together because my flight got canceled. Something was going on with flights at that time. I'm not too sure, but I ended up driving home with him. And January 1st at 4:30 in the morning, we were an hour away from home and I was driving and there were headlights coming at us. I thought they were in the other lane, but it was a wrong way drunk driver. And he hit us head on and Zachary passed away immediately.
Were you hurt at all?
I had quite a bit of internal trauma. When I came to kind of thing, I just felt no pain. But then once EMS arrived and everything kind of hit me, I couldn't really walk on one of my feet for a little while. Nothing was broken or anything like that. It was just my foot was just smushed from the impact. And then a couple weeks later, I went septic because the seatbelt had torn my intestines. So I was in the hospital for maybe like 10 days total after that, just in and out because I was very sick and we didn't know if it was like the flu at first or what was going on. But then after all of that had happened, I was looking better internally.
So not only do you have to live with Zach passing away, I'm assuming you saw the whole accident, right? Or did you not come to until after the fact?
No, I found Zach. So when I came to, there was honestly, like, I want to describe it as if you rip a paper down the middle from nose to tail of the car was ripped in half. So I came to and I unbuckled my seatbelt and I went to climb out. I couldn't get out my door, so I went to climb out what I thought was the passenger side of the car, but the passenger side was completely gone. And I just climbed over the center console. And then I just remember crawling around. I was in the grass. All I saw were sparkles in my eyes. And I turned around, and in those sparkles, I saw Zach, and he was completely under the car. And in that moment, it was like a fight or flight. And I thought that I was Hulk. And I tried, like, I honest to God thought that I could lift the car. And I tried and I tried and I tried to lift it up. I sat on the ground and I put my feet against the car and just tried to pull him out from under, like sticking my arms under him. All I saw was his face. But yeah, I wasn't strong enough. So the next thing I thought to do was to take his pulse. And I took his pulse and he was gone. And I honestly could just describe it as the face of an angel. Like, he truly didn't look hurt. He looked fine. He was like asleep. And I'm so glad that that was my last image of him because he, honest to God, had the face of an angel. He was perfect. He was just sleeping. So it's crazy. I just came across this photo the other day. It was June 26th, 2023. And a man came up to, no, I lied, June 26th, 2022. And a man came to us on the beach. We were just walking Jack's Beach. And a man just randomly was like, this is weird. And I am really sorry. Like, I don't want this to be awkward, but can I take your photo right now? He said that the sunset or the sky or something looks beautiful. And you are a beautiful couple. I just need to take this picture. So we were both like, sure. And we let him take the picture. And honestly, like I felt like that man was an angel who just came up to us and asked us that, because that is the photo that his dad picked for his headstone. And it is just the most perfect picture of him. He just looks so happy. And his dad even said that he's never seen happiness until Zach met me. And that was just brought me so much joy, just knowing that, number one, like that little angelic moment of that man coming up to us, but also number two, that his dad even felt the calling, that that picture was just so perfect and it wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for that man.
I'm someone that really thinks that any choice you make in life gets you to where you're at. So it's the fact of like that guy taking however many seconds of his day to do that. Every single thing you do has an impact. But I wanted to just tell you that story because of how angelic you kept describing him. That I have absolutely no doubt that he was an angel sent for you to help you heal through eating disorder, to show you what love to experience and to not settle and to make you this strong. Unfortunately, it had to be through the accident to get you to where you're at, but now you're equipped with so much. And it was just, he came, he did what he was supposed to do in his life, and I don't doubt he's watching every second of you because of that.
Yes, and I truly believe, I know I always say I feel like it sounds selfish, but I know that he was sent to earth to help heal people, and I was one of those people, and I know for a fact that I would not be here if it wasn't for him, and I'm just so grateful.
And honestly, he came and he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Right.
And that was save you, strengthen you, and now you are who you are, which
Give me the tools to save other lives,
yes,
because
exactly. So before we get further into your and Zach's story, Megan and I wanted to further honor Zach and discuss the effects of drinking and driving. As she just said, Zach was killed by a drunk driver. And the reality is, drinking and driving is not rare and it's not an accident. It's a preventable choice that takes more than 10,000 lives every single year in the US alone. That means, on average, one person is killed every 39 minutes because someone chose to drive impaired. And beyond the lives lost, more than 300,000 people drive drunk every day, but only about 1% are ever arrested. These aren't just numbers. They're people with futures and families and love stories that deserve more time. People like Zach. Choosing not to drink and drive is one of the simplest and most powerful acts of love and responsibility we can offer to people around us. Call a friend, call a ride, wait it out, plan ahead. Just don't do it. One choice can save a life, and one choice could have saved his. What did you admire most about Zach? And what quality do you think he brought out in you best?
oh my goodness. Okay. I admired, oh my goodness.
Oh,
Like he was truly such a good human. And I just admired his kindness towards others. And that, specifically the homeless, he had a big spot in his heart for homeless people. And in Jacksonville, there's a lot of them. And one line he said to me was, "We just got to give them hope. We just got to let them know that they're cared about." And I think that is something that has stuck with me for so long. And the reason that I'm saying this is because I got a sign from heaven, and I had ordered an Etsy order, and I ordered a gymnastics sweatshirt, and it was a girl doing a handstand on the sweatshirt. I used to coach gymnastics. And I opened my Etsy order. There was a sweatshirt, and it said, "We just got to give them hope."
oh my
And
goodness.
I reached out to the girl and I was like, "Hi, I got the wrong sweatshirt, but like you have no idea how much more this means to me. So I really like to keep it, but I just want to make sure whoever's supposed to get this sweatshirt gets their actual sweatshirt because they probably have mine." Um, and it was just such like a hug that I needed. And it was like a year after he passed, and I told my boss about the situation, and my boss in that moment was like, "We need to honor Zach somehow with that line." So he like designed a little logo, and at some point we want to use that line to do something with helping the homeless in Jacksonville. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but we just want to bring a little piece of Zach Kennedy into Jacksonville and help them and just let them know that there is more to what could be of life if you just have a little hope. So I just admired his just faith in all humans and his love for all humans.
I feel like he gives you so many signs because you mentioned when we were on the phone and I said something about like there being no coincidences in life. And you were like, that's crazy you just said that because he always says that. And it sounds like he's just always reminding you, like, he is still here.
Yes, I actually asked him for a ladybug last week. And I was like, please just send me a ladybug. I don't want a fake ladybug. I want a ladybug to like land on me or crawl on me or something. And this is like, I know it didn't happen exactly how you would want it to happen, like a ladybug crawling and landing on you. But I had a dream that four ladybugs landed on me. And like, tell me that that's not a sign. Like, he's like, yeah, I can't make that happen right now, but here's four ladybugs. Like, I don't know. I just,
I love that so much.
yes, I
Oh,
took it as a sign. And then I told my best friend about it. And that day she was out shopping at like a farmer's market and she sent me this hat, like a picture of this hat. And she was like, this is going to be crazy, but you mentioned the ladybug and the whole Zach thing. And she was like, and I feel like Zach just kept calling me back to this hat. So I bought it for you. And there's a ladybug on the rim of it. And it just made me so happy just because now I have that little ladybug to remind me of him sending me a ladybug forever. And I just love that. And at the hospital, I think so. I'm weird about ladybugs because right after the accident at the hospital at 5:30 in the morning, a ladybug landed on my blanket when I was laying in the hospital bed. And I was like, holy cow, you're already safe in heaven. Like, you're right here with me. Like,
like that was
so,
a fast trip, Zach.
yes, exactly. Because God didn't even need to question him. God said, you're going straight to heaven.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. But yes, he always gives me signs. And I'm so grateful for them because they're just little, like, keep going reminders, you know. Not that I need approval, but the ladybug thing was, am I supposed to be doing what I'm doing with who I'm with right now? Like, is life lined up correctly kind of thing? And I got four ladybugs. So that's four yeses. Like,
Yes, no.
right where you're supposed to be, right where you are is perfect. And you're with the perfect people. So,
I love that you're still looking to him with your chapters in life right now and that you're able to coincide with it. So I'm sure grief looks different every single day, but where is somewhere you can go mentally or physically that you can just be with Zach?
anywhere that his dad is, I could call his dad in a second and be having a breakdown and just in that moment, I hear Zach's voice and I know that all is right with the world.
Is that just because they were close, or do they just act similar, or unknown?
So, whenever I talk to Larry and I'm with Larry, anything like that, I just think back to when the accident happened. And the first words out of Larry's mouth, he gave me a hug, like when we were in person, not over the phone, but he gave me a hug and he said, I don't want this situation to put a sour taste in your mouth for love because you have so much love to give. And I just knew that even though it was his son, he just wanted me to be happy in life. And I think that moment I just knew it was Zach, like giving me the okay. Like, it's
This
okay.
isn't the end.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that moment, that comment just made me feel like a little piece of Zach was just there. And anytime I'm with him now, it's just I feel so safe. His dad is very Catholic, and he let me know a million times that there was nothing I could have done. And God called him home at 4:30 in the morning, and right,
Even if you could redo it right now, you could have done nothing. And that his family is there to be with you and not go, well, you were with him when he passed. You should stay here forever and not let your heart move on. It's not what you need. It's not what Zach would have wanted. Zach, from what it sounds like, would want you to be so in love, would want you to be as happy as you once were with a guy, and just show what your heart has. Because I feel like that too. I feel sometimes like I have so much to give, but there's a reason why I don't have a person to give it to right now. Because when it's not the right person, God's not going to let me pour out my soul into them. So for Larry to tell you that, it's just kind of like confirmation of, you're right, my heart doesn't stop here. It can continue and share love that Zach grew. Because I'm sure, at least in me, any relationship really just, you grow different parts of you, and then those parts really feed into other people. And it sounds like Zach grew every single square inch of you for better. He just added so much for you for the future and for anybody else that comes into your life.
Yes, and I'm truly so grateful for him and his family. And okay, so this is side noting really quick, but
Yeah.
his dad and sister surprised me in Jacksonville today. And they got to meet my boyfriend, Austin, and it was just like such an awesome day. And I'm still so close with them. So I'm just so grateful that he even bonded me together with his family just once, and we still have such an amazing relationship.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your relationship with his family. And what does that look like?
Okay, so yes, I'm still very close with Zach's family. One thing that I have done with them since the accident is Christmas. And that was our last holiday with Zach together, all of us. And his dad said that holiday was just, that felt like the true meaning of family. I just, that feels like home to me. And if it feels like home to him, then I know it's okay to go there. And he's just so welcoming anytime. And he's always like, stay as long as you want. Like, we love you. So they're amazing.
That's sweet. So what's life looking like now?
So, like, is great. Life is taking it day by day, but today is a good day. I got to spend it with Zach's family, but I also got to spend it with my boyfriend Austin, who is a rock star, and I'm just so lucky to have him in my life.
So what is it like dating through, I wouldn't say after this grief, but after the accident, through grief, what's it like? Because not only, I'm sure there's days where you go, how am I even going to get through this? But now inviting somebody else in to kind of to try to show them your heart and your life, how is that?
It's definitely a challenge, and a lot of people have a tough time with it. A lot of people, I don't even want to say get jealous, but some people do. And some people
Mhm.
have a real issue with me and my relationship with Zach's family. It's really nice that Austin is very open to him and his stories and his family and all of that.
Well, and it's something, it's shaped you. It's
Exactly.
why you are who you are. And I
Right.
think it's awesome that he's able to accept that and be part of it and want to be part of it, because it's going to be part of you forever. So it's going to take someone willing to accept it. And in the end, you are here wanting to have a relationship with someone else. It's not like you aren't looking for that. Of course, that's part of what Zach did. Is like, you have such a heart, open it, find the love.
Right.
Um, but I think that's awesome that Austin's able to do that.
Yes, it's been definitely different navigating life after loss and all of that good stuff, but not even just like my relationship is great, but I love my job. I'm very happy with where things are going. I'm hoping to go back to school to become a grief counselor. So that is on the horizon. So hopefully I can help people who are going through similar things. I just remember when I started looking for a grief counselor online, there was one in Jacksonville. So it just blew my mind. And she wasn't even in Jacksonville. There was just one that my insurance, which was at the time it was Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it's not a
Very
bad.
proud of it.
Yes. There was only one grief counselor that could talk to me, and it was over video, and I was just so wigged out that there was only one choice. And she was amazing and I loved her, but I just want there to be more than one choice for other people so they can just, I don't know, I just want to be an option kind of thing. I want people to know they're not alone, and that if one person is booked up that day, that I'm here to be your grief counselor.
And not, I mean, it's hard. I've done this journey for 5 years of having a therapist. It's hard to find a good therapist that you really connect with. So that one therapist available in Jacksonville is not going to connect with everybody in Jacksonville that needs it, because there's lots of military there and there's, I'm sure, lots of grief there, let alone outside of the military community. So that alone, I'm sure you would do so much good for the community.
Yeah. And I am actually looking to start working with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It's MADD. I don't know if you've heard about that, but
No.
I haven't either. My friend told me about it, and I'm so excited about it because there are panels that you can do to talk to people that have been convicted of drunk driving. So people that have been convicted of drunk driving have to go to these panels. People that have been impacted from drunk driving go to these panels. Anybody just in the community who, if it's somebody who has been sentenced for it, they are probably getting told to do it by a judge. But family members can go, anybody can go and just hear other people's stories and just know that it does make an impact when you do drink and drive. So I'm hoping to start doing some panels like that just to start public speaking about it, to hopefully go somewhere further with it.
You're going to do so much good. I mean, between that, between, helping homeless, just spreading. Oh, and this is something that I want to hit on, is just how Zach's faith has really like carried through you, especially this year, getting back into your faith. Because naturally, something traumatic happens. You typically pull away from God a little bit, because, I mean, there's questions, there's anger, everything you feel. And now I know you said that this year you really got back into it. And I want you to say the story about, is it the gumball machine? What you do with that? Yeah, say that. I love it.
Okay. So Zachary, when he and I were together, he wanted to buy a gumball machine. He wanted a vending machine at first, and then he was thinking of like washers and dryers at a laundromat. Like he wanted all of these different little money makers, vending machines, gumball machines, whatever, he wanted to become a millionaire. And he just thought that this was going to magically make him one. So he got a candy machine, and it had 3 slots on it, an M&M slot, a gumball slot, and a Skittles slot. And he put that at my job, which was, it's called the Little Gym in Jacksonville, or in St. Johns County. And all of the kids were obsessed with it. And when he passed away, I asked my boss if we could keep it there, if that was something he'd be okay with. And to this day, the candy machine is still working hard, and it is loved. And it has a little plaque on top in Zach's memory. We keep it there. It has the picture of us on there, and everybody knows me as Coach Megan, so they get excited to see Coach Megan on there. But then they always ask, and the parents are always so excited to know that Zach's story is being told to the kids, to know about a guy who flies an airplane. But also the parents are impacted too. So everybody gets to hear about Zach, and kids get excited that he flew an airplane, and parents are ears open to knowing not to drink and drive.
Yeah, it's to be known far and wide. Little did he know, and little did he want. Who knows? But he is.
Yeah. He is loved by so many for putting that candy machine in there, because those kids bring their quarter every week after class, so they get to have their M&Ms, Skittles, or gumball.
That's so sweet.
So, as I said, I grew up a cradle Catholic, so went to Catholic school my entire life. And when I started teaching, I stopped going to church, wasn't really into it. And then I moved down to Florida, and I met Zach. And immediately he just showed me his love for his faith. So we started going to church on Sundays, every Sunday together. We would go to church and then we'd go have breakfast together. Sundays became my favorite day of the week, and they were amazing up until the accident, which I did go to church for a couple weeks after the accident, but I did not want to be there. I was miserable. I was crying the entire mass. I just hated life. So I stopped going to church maybe the second week of January, probably right after. Sorry, this is side noting, but I'm thinking, yeah, I stopped going to church the second week of January once I got sick and went septic. And then went to Zach's funeral, had a really hard time at his funeral in the church, left the church a couple times during his funeral because I was just so mad and just felt like God had so many things against me, and didn't start going back to church until this year, which is 3 years later. And this year I got into a Bible study and I just fell in love with the church again and met so many great people. And I am diving back into things really hard and I'm loving it. So I actually, with his gumball machine, am taking the money from his gumball machine and I use his money to make breakfast for the Bible study on Sunday mornings when I go. So
It's just so wholesome.
yeah.
You know, it's something like, and I think a lot of people that go through grief or a traumatic incident have this of when they get back into their faith, if they get back into their faith, of like, man, I was away, and hopefully he understands why. But he sees all, and there's no accident. There's purpose behind everything. He's forgiving. He's merciful. He knows what you're going through. He knows how you're feeling, and it's justifiable. Maybe not to anybody besides him or to you, but that's just part of it, part of healing, and you're back. And now hopefully you have more peace about things whenever you could talk about it through prayer or through people you're connected with. I think it's a natural path of questioning and anger, and he understands why people go through this break in, I don't want to say faith, but maybe in like practicing of it. But thankfully you were able to come back to it.
Yes, for sure. I am very glad that I am back into it.
What did loving Zach teach you about yourself or kind of shape you for how you love now?
I definitely reflect on my words a lot more now, just because you never know when your last line is going to be your last line to someone. So you want it to be a good line and you don't want it to be a negative line, especially before you're leaving somewhere or anything like that. I definitely reflect more on how I say things and I'm more intentional with things. I've just truly, I feel like he's made me a better person, and all of this has just, in my relationships, I try at least for Austin.
We're not perfect.
Exactly. We're not perfect. We're all human. He puts up with a lot, but he is very patient and kind and knows that I am trying to be very patient and understanding and kind because, like I said, you never know when your last moment's going to be your last. So you want it to be a good one.
I feel like this is so cliche, but my mom and dad would always say, like, you don't go to bed angry no matter what. You figure it out before you go to bed. You say, I love you. I never once growing up saw them one sleep in the bed and one sleep on the couch. It's never how I saw it. You don't know if that's your last sleep or your last night or whatever it is.
My thing is never put something in writing that you can't take back to them because it's going to haunt you forever if you say something that you regret.
Mm-hmm. If you could sit in one moment with him again, like completely ordinary, which would you choose and why?
I would choose Nashville because I was singing my heart out to him about how much I loved him. It was December in Nashville. It was freezing. Nobody was there. It was so quiet in Nashville, and we just like, how many times can I say Nashville? But truly, like, I think being back there, we stayed at the Joseph Hotel, and I remember him being so proud that he booked it. And it was such a nice hotel. I don't know if you know the Olympic gymnast Shawn Johnson.
Yes.
But she raves about this hotel. And when I found out she liked the hotel, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is so crazy, extravagant, like holy cow. And I would just relive Nashville with him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And having experiencing love and losing it to whatever capacity, it's like those are the moments you look back to that you are like, I was just so in the moment and the rest of the world didn't exist. It was just me and you. And that's what I want. Like I said earlier, it kind of brings you back to what life is. It doesn't matter what somebody thinks of your body or what you're wearing or what you can buy or doing anything for anybody else is never going to fulfill you like living your life for you and the people that you love.
Right.
And those are always the moments that you're like, I just wish, whether it's you physically not ever being able to be with Zach on earth again, or just losing a love, going, that's something I'm not going to get back with that person. Hopefully, it'll be with another person if that's what you're meant to do. But it's the ordinary things that are just so extravagant. And I love like when people say like romanticize your life. Like, you know, if you're like, wow, I really haven't had a good day in a while, romanticize your coffee, romanticize waking up and turning music on. Or my daughter and I like to dance around playing music, or she'll ask for a record and she'll scream at me to dance. And it's like one day I'm going to look back on that and be like, I wish she would scream at me to dance to a record one more time. She's going to be in college or she's not going to want to talk to me or whatever it may be. It's just the simplest things in life just mean the absolute most.
One thing I would say to anybody listening or watching is I definitely would not take any little moment that they want to do something that they might be interested in for granted, because just if they want to go to a museum specifically, this is what I'm thinking of. Zachary brought up a museum to me 5 times and I was like, yeah, we'll go, and we never got to go, and I feel so guilty anytime I walk by that museum now. So if they want to do something, even if it's boring to you, just do it because it's going to make them happy. And that
Yeah.
is just showing your love for them, and just suck it up for 2 hours and do what they want because you might enjoy it. You just might.
And unfortunately, because you had to go through this, you do feel guilt when you go by a museum that he wanted to go to and you're like, nah, let's just not. And you know what? He is not thinking of that time that you did not go to the museum with him. He's not thinking about that one bit. He's just waking up every day going, damn, heaven is awesome. This is great. This is the life. I can't wait for my girl to get back here. What parts of you did he see or understand that others maybe haven't before?
Oh, wow. Honestly, I feel like he saw some very rough, raw, like finding life again moments, because I was just starting in a new place, starting a new life, and didn't have a sense of direction. So I had to try many new things and try things a few times, like surfing and stuff like that, until I was finally able to do it. And I was very vulnerable in some moments that, like, I just wouldn't expect to be vulnerable in front of somebody. Like, I don't know, but he saw me try things multiple times. And I think it was because he was my biggest cheerleader that I was comfortable enough to try them multiple times. And I didn't just like say, forget it, I don't want to do it. Like, we practiced, we took dance lessons, and I was so bad at it. And like, I just tried and tried and tried. And he always just like was like, come on, let's just do it again. Let's learn a different dance this time. Like, let's do a salsa. And I was just like, what are we serious? But we did it. And it was so like goofy, but he saw those parts of me that I just haven't really shown other people. So it's
I absolutely love that. So I think like the part of vulnerability though, like giving yourself to him spiritually, that and like the trying new things, like all part of vulnerability just really adds to like how deep your connection can be with someone and how it really shapes the importance of that love, because it's not something that you're meant to give just every single person that you go on a date with that full, here's every part of me. But I really think from experience, once you start giving each part of you, that's really how you can see how both of you are going to play roles in each other's lives, because it's so raw, and it's just like, here's who I am, take it or leave it. This is what I've got, but I'm willing to grow in this direction or this direction, because
Right.
that's truly how you grow a relationship.
Right. Yes, definitely. I 100% agree with that.
And
Yes.
then once you give all of that and you are that vulnerable, it's that much tougher going into other relationships, because you know the capacity, and you know that, well, I don't want to give all this to you if you're not what I think is worth it.
Right.
Because the more you give, the more you can be hurt.
Yeah.
And I think that you just got to be so careful. But I think it's also such a blessing how you're able to open your heart, like Larry was saying to you, and you are able to do that. I think it's amazing, because you can pick what you're going to do with it. And I'm not saying it's easy or hard, whatever way you decide. I think no matter where you go is going to be hard. It's just picking your heart. It's picking your heart. Do you want to do all the internal work and find that love? Or do you want to go through the heart of keeping your heart to yourself? Each way is valid, because your heart's been hurt, very hurt. And
Right.
yet you're still choosing that you have some love to give and receive,
Yes.
a
Yeah.
lot of love to receive.
And
Um,
send me the right one. I know
yeah,
he'll send me the right one. So
yeah.
I'm just, I'm lucky.
If you had to describe your love in a feeling instead of words, what would it be?
Okay. Our love in a feeling and not in words. I'm gonna describe a moment in childhood, and then that's how I feel like it would be. Like, I feel like innocent was our love. Our love was innocent. Our love was like a little kid experiencing the sprinkler for the first time. You know what I mean? Like that excitement. It was just innocent and pure and just giggles after you get an ice cream cone. Like,
When you say that, it makes me think of that video you sent me of, I think you guys were like maybe on a boardwalk leaving the beach or something when it was raining, and you guys were like, it was over an umbrella, just like
yeah,
giggling over an umbrella being broken in the rain, or maybe like you couldn't shut it or something, and it's just so
yes,
like, yeah, like it's innocent and pure. And
yes.
there's people that would get an argument over that, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, no. Our love was just so happy, pure, innocent. Yeah, honest to God, innocent would be, I don't know if that's a feeling, but innocent.
Yeah. Were there things that you appreciated when Zach was Earthside that you can look kind of maybe like reflect on other people that you see them not appreciate in their partners or spouses or boyfriends, girlfriends, that you kind of just like, dang, I feel like you should really appreciate that since you haven't maybe experienced what I've experienced.
Um, Honestly, I feel like people, oh, just the way that people talk to their partners. Zach had such patience with me and he taught me patience. He was just such a calm breath. And I just feel like when people snap, and even when I say something and react without thinking, I'm just like, hold on, you've got to take a step back. You've got to go apologize. You've got to go fix that because I just know that that's not what that person deserves because that's something that he taught me is just like everything, take your time kind of deal. That's one thing I feel like he just never snapped at me and was always just so patient with me and understanding. And people just don't, like, people take advantage of that or take that for granted. And I don't, it just bothers me because why take advantage of a sweet, innocent soul, you know? So,
When I think when you've gotten that taken away from you and you're like, but he was so patient with me, like your whoever could be taken away. Why aren't you just patient with them?
right.
Yeah, I mean, I see that with parenting when it's like it's just innocent. Now, trust me, I get patience with children, but also when, let's say, a small baby and they don't have patience for when they're crying, I'm like, they literally, they just want you,
Right,
it's just have patience.
right.
So I get that when it comes to that.
Or put them down
Um,
and walk away, but don't react negatively. Like even just walk out of the room type of deal.
yeah, just
If you're
take a
mad
minute.
at somebody, don't say nasty words to them like you're a significant other. Just walk away.
Hmm.
Take a breath.
Okay. Megan, thank you so much for being here and for letting us see the love you and Zach shared. Your story is a reminder that love doesn't end, it changes forms, and it stays with us, and it continues to shape who we become. Your story is a gift, and I'm so grateful you trusted us with it. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us and honoring that kind of love. And I'll see you next time on Tides of the Heart.